It is 7:12, and I will call the meeting of the Board of Selectmen Wednesday, November 8th, 2023, the special meeting agenda, in person and virtual, Notch Road at 7 p.m. At this time, I would like to make a personal statement in the call to order, and that is to say it has been an absolute privilege to serve as first selectman. It has been an honor to serve with these people, that 5 that I have served with for the last 2 years. I have found that they've all been open for conversation and discussion and to talk over issues very thoroughly, which have been in their view, and in most of the time have pulled together votes that we've been able to take that have been unanimous. Sometimes there have been some abstentions. Once in a while there'd be one negative vote, but because of the communication, it has been amazing. And I just want to say a very special thank you to those who have served with me on this board, and those who are, there he is. Hi, Bob. I was just complimenting how wonderful it's been to be serving as first selectman and working particularly with you. Okay. And how it's been great to work together on so many important issues facing the town. So that's my personal statement, and I can't go any further because then I'll get choked up. And at this time, then I would like to ask, it's a special meeting, we will not be saluting the flag at this time. And at this time, I would like to open it to public comment. Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment this evening to the board as it sits now? Jim Lorsch, please.
Should I stand or should
Why don't you come sit up in the seat and speak really loudly? Thank you.
Okay. Jim Lorsch, Brookfield Road. My concerns are, as they have been for some time now, town hall's getting older. We're doing more finagling to try to make things work as far as office space and everything goes, including some modular homes. And the town really needs to think about a new town hall. If you had a fleet of trucks and you get a truck that's old and not working so good, you guys should replace it like pretty quickly. But that's not happening with the town hall. The town hall is more jammed, and you got more other spaces you're making do and everything else. And the town really needs to consider a new town hall. And my opinion is that you're gonna bust a building down over here behind us, gonna have a hole there. I don't know what you're gonna do with a hole, but I think that would be a perfect spot for a new town hall. Again, you got all the amenities here, parking, the whole works. Why not put the town hall there? Same message. Thank you. Have a nice night.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate your thoughts. Would anyone else like to address the board? Mr. Fournier?
I just want to thank the current board for their service. It's been great to watch it move along, and Jim, you've done a great job. And I wish you all the best of luck who aren't coming on, and I want to congratulate everybody who's getting on, and I look forward to working with them. And that's all I got for now.
Anyone else? Very good. Nobody else online, right?
I see no hands up online.
Oh, hands up online. Deputy Chief, you're all set? Chief, we'll get to you a little bit later. Very good. Thank you, everybody. At this time, we'll move on to item number 3, the approval of the minutes, October 3rd for the regular meeting. Do I have,
Move we accept them.
I have a motion by Mike Aramita to accept the minutes. And Bob DePietro is seconding. Thank you. And comments, corrections, deletions? Very good, then, with not hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
One abstention.
one abstention
I wasn't here.
from the absence of Mr. Moore for the October 3rd international travel. Moving on then to be October 17th, the special AP meeting. I would like to have a motion before it, to put it before us.
So moved.
More moves, and could I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Pedro seconds, thank you.
Like,
Is there any any additions, deletions, corrections? Okay, very good. Then at this time, I would call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to November 2nd, the special AP meeting. Could I have a motion to accept, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. And a second? Bob Morrow seconds. Is there any additions, deletions, corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. At this time, we move on to number 4, the appointments and resignations. Before us, we have a resignation of Trish Bruns. And at this time, I would like to say a very special thank you to her for her work at the library. She's had such a wonderful, positive attitude and brought such an energy to the library. We are going to miss her. She has accepted a full-time position at another library, and we're sad to see her go. Do I need to have a motion to accept the resignation? But at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to accept with regret the resignation of Trish.
so moved.
Adam
Second.
Keller makes the motion and Bob Morris seconds. Is there any further comment that anyone on the board would like to make?
I just would like
Bob,
to
repeat
say, I would just like to say, she has been very, very helpful, not only in the programs area, but as individual taxpayers. When we came forward and had some problems, she was right there to help. So I really, really am going to miss her.
He's really, really going to miss her. Very good. Thank you very much. Any others? I concur. I would like to ditto what Bob just said. Then I'd like to ask for the vote. All in favor of accepting the resignation, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to the resignation of Randy Heckman, who from our building department. He has had the wonderful fortune to get a very good position in a neighboring town. We wish him absolutely the best of luck. He has served this town with a lot of heart, and I must admit, and a lot of smiles and good laughs. Having said that, I would need a motion to accept the resignation of Randy from the building.
Also move it with the comments that I appreciate his service to our town and I wish him the best of luck in his new venture.
Thank you. I need a second.
Second.
Michael Aramita seconds.
Yep.
Any further comment on about this resignation? Michael?
Yeah, just, since Jim has had his job that he has now, Randy's been holding down the fort in the building department. And I've had the privilege of doing a couple of projects which required his services as a building inspector. And he is very good. He's professional, competent, and a good person to work with. And he's going to be missed by the town.
Thank you very much. Seeing no other hands up, then at this time I would ask for the vote. All in favor of accepting Randy's resignation with regret, please say aye.
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 Aye, passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Now we have an appointment. James Lockhart, the Assistant Animal Control Officer. He's new to the town of Vernon. For those people in the packet, we do have his certification. And we pay the town, we get a really good bargain. We pay $6,000 to the town of Vernon for this service. It's shared service, which I think is one of the goals that, this board and prior boards have had, to save money for the town, so we don't have to have one individual part-time and all the difficulties that raised in the past. So at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to accept the appointment of James Lockhart as the Assistant Animal Control Officer. Bob
So,
Mora and Adam Teller seconds. Are there any other comments?
nope, they provide a great service for us and welcome them aboard.
Thank you. Hearing no other comments then, I would ask for the call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to correspondence number 5. We have a letter regarding the selectmen's salary issue that was brought up at public comment. Mr. Jay Brutt wrote a letter. It is in the packet, so you've all had hopefully a chance to read it. It takes exception to what some of the comments that were said at the public comment regarding the charter revision intent. I think he's written a very clear letter, and at this time, I will put it out for those people before us who would like to take a look at it. Anyone would like to see it?
Madam Chair, as a
Miss-
former member of the Charter Committee,
Mr.
I'd
Teller?
like to make a comment about the correspondence, which is that Mr. Brooks is entirely accurate in his report of the doings of the Charter.
Thank you, Mr. Teller.
Excuse me, Madam, first of all, this is the Fred's resignation letter.
I have one here.
Okay. Ron Brett's, right.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you. My apologies.
We have another member of the Charter Commission. Yeah.
Bob, were you able to hear Adam's comment?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I have a question myself.
Bob says he had a question.
Bob DiPietro, yes, please. Good
Yes,
question,
If-
sir.
if Jay had not written that letter, would something have been alternatively entered into the record to dispute the alleged misrepresentation of the intent of the charter revision regarding this issue?
I would say probably not, in that it came through to the board as public comment.
But,
And
Pam?
we have not had it on as an agenda item
But-
per se. Michael has his hand up, Mr. Aramita.
Yes, I think Adam at the last meeting, when this was brought up, stated that pretty much what this letter states, that it was not proposed that way in the charter revision, and that, yes, there was some discussion of salary increases to be left to the board, but it wasn't at that type of language. And I think Adam's comments were, I would say, sufficient had that not been written, but it's nice to have a letter written to back Adam's statements. But I think it would have wound up being part of the record anyway, because Adam talked to pretty much exactly this.
Yeah, well, I don't know that my statement's in the minutes, but not that
Well-
it's, but I
Good point, good point.
just wanted to,
Adam, you have the floor?
I'm sorry. Oh, I did. Yeah. But I don't think my, looking at minutes. I don't think it actually reports my comments, but that's
Don't
fine.
believe so.
I don't think it needs to be that complete. I think it's helpful to have Mr. Brett's recollection. And as I said, I endorse his recollection.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. DePietro. Very good. With no further comment then, this is something that a new board can look at if they wish to bring it forward, the selectman's salary, and I will just make one comment that I believe that it would be beneficial to have a public hearing on it. Moving on then to ongoing business, possibly consider an act on the donation of the fire truck based on the fair market value estimates. So, one of the things that we have before us is, a letter to Mr. Rupert from Mr. Dixon. And we also have received, I have received a text from Mr. Aramita. And if I might, Michael, may I just, because they can hear my voice, I think a little bit better.
Absolutely, go for it.
Describe some of the photos with the sales prices that he was able to send me as a text. So there's a 97 E1 fire truck pumper with tank. It's a Detroit, and it is put up for sale for $9,500. A 95 Spartan.
Can I interrupt 1 second?
Yes, sir.
The one you just described, the 97 E1 pumper, is the closest to ours that I was able to find in the short period of time I took looking those up. And it's very similar to ours, 3 years newer. So that's the closest apples to apples I was able to find.
Kingston, New Hampshire.
No, it should say 38 on it, I believe.
She said the location was Kingston, New Hampshire.
No, I thought it was Boston. Number 32 should have been, I thought that's Boston. It says big 32 on the front of it.
Yeah, it says,
Yeah,
it does
it
say
says-
Kingston, New Hampshire, though.
Yeah, but it says Boston right on the front of it. It may have been sold and up for sale again. I don't know.
You're right. The truck says Boston on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's the closest apples to apples I was able to find.
Would you like me to read the others, Mr. Aramita?
Yeah, I just wanted to make that little point so that
There's a 1995 Spartan Laverne pumper, 1500/1000 out of Wardsboro, Vermont, and that's listed for $10,000. Fire truck. And then there's also a 1993 International 466 listed for $20,500 out of Sussex, New Jersey. No comments from the peanut gallery. 1974 Maxim F model fire truck out of Hyannis, Massachusetts. That's listed for $7,500. And there's Michael's favorite, a 1941 fire truck engine that he really wants. And that's $12,000 out of Hanover, Massachusetts. For saving that. It's his going away gift. Sounds going to.
I already asked Cheryl. She gave me a big no.
There's apparently no room in the stable.
Garage. Yep.
His house. Okay. Thank you very much, Michael, for that research. Appreciate it. And we go back to the first one, which you said is the closest to the 1997, and that was for $9,500. Okay, and we have before us this 2-page letter from the chief. At this time, I would open the floor to the chief at this time. Do you have something to add, sir? I hope you're feeling better. You have to speak really loudly.
You're muted, chief.
Take it off on mute and it works also too. No, the letter, you asked me to do some research. Jim and I talked about it. I sent a letter out to the Talon County Chiefs, which is 17 departments. We're larger than Talon County. And I got several responses back on the back of that. You can see the email I sent out. So hopefully it fit Adam's request. Turn around on the back. There's 3 requests or 3 answers that I got back. All different type of trucks, with the exception of Vernon. There were 2 engines in Vernon that are sitting behind a highway garage and they can't sell them. Probably going to scrap them. I did ask Firematic, the people we bought the new truck from, if they were interested, and he said no. He suggested we contact Brindley Mountain, which is a company in Alabama that I mentioned to you last week that we tried to sell ET 234 at and were unsuccessful. I also, the bottom right-hand corner, had continued conversations with the president of Eastern Connecticut Fire School, and he has raised his bid up to $6,000 in school credits for that particular apparatus.
That's Chief Pollock,
I'm sorry?
that's Nick.
Yes, it is. Yep. Chief
Thank you.
Wallach.
Chief Pollock was fire chief in Hebron for many years, so I got to know him,
Past fire chief, right? Yep.
past fire chief. And I performed his work. Having said that, thank you for the update of the $6,000 offer. Of services, for those that are new to the issue. We have this new truck coming in, we have this old truck, we have to decide what to do with it. And so the fire school would like to have it for training, and has made an offer that we would get $6,000 worth of classes and services in exchange for the vehicle. And so Mr. Teller rightfully asked, the board concurred, that we get some more estimates to see if that's a good value, because need to be responsible to the taxpayers in the town. One of the things we do know is that we get a lot of mutual aid support from other towns that would benefit from the training as well. That's one of the points that was brought up the last time. So it would behoove the town of Bolton by $6,000, but would behoove the town surrounding us and others, not quite contiguous, who would be able to use this for their training as well, who will also come to us when we need it in shared services. At this time, I would open the floor for discussion. Mr. Teller?
I don't have any,
Sure.
I'm going to understand that.
Thank you, Mr. Aramita.
Yeah, I have 3 points to make on this.
Very loudly.
I'll make the points as loud as I can. 3 points. Number one, my first choice was always to keep this truck as a spare for the town. Not just for a spare, but as you can see from news articles and things, trucks get hit all the time out on the highway. And many departments are taking their oldest truck and making it a blocking vehicle on the highway. Currently, we block on the highway with our engine and our ladder to keep anybody from getting hurt. Because as I told Mayor Curry, when she asked me why I was doing it, I said, because a fire truck doesn't bleed. And, you know, if you total it, it's total, but there's no workers' comp and anything. But if this truck goes away and we're not able to use it as a blocking vehicle, then either our newest engine, which will be valued at that point probably at $1.2 million, or our ladder, which is $2.5 million right now, are going to be the blocking vehicles. So if something happened, we'd be losing one of them, and it would be a significant loss to the town. That was my first choice. My second choice is to donate it to the fire school because two things. Number one, it will be available for us and other departments to use. We will be able to use money that would be spent for training for other things because we will get something in return for it. So in essence, we get the money almost like twice, because we're not going to spend it and we're getting it in a budget as opposed to just going general fund kind of thing. And the fact that when we go down to the fire school now, we take our engine with us, where we wouldn't have to. We could leave that in town with a couple of people and it would stay in service, and we'd use our old engine at the fire school, which would be available to everybody in the immediate area. And God forbid, a crazy something happens, it's still a functional fire truck that could be assigned. The third point I want to make is I in a very short period of time was able to find a couple of dozen fire trucks for sale inside of 10 minutes. The internet and the companies that sell fire trucks have thousands for sale. They're something that just you'll see out in the field with weeds growing through them. They just have no real value to anyone other than somebody who's going to take it apart and scrap it and sell the parts, or to the town that has it and wants to use it for a blocker or a spare piece. This price is all over. I've seen trucks like ours for 5,000 and trucks like ours for 10,000, and it's all in what everybody wants to put on it. We tried already once to sell the old brush truck for around 10, and we wound up taking half of it because nobody really wanted it. And it was a very specific customer who put his name in the ring to get that truck. And it's exactly the same. Like the chief said, Vernon has a ladder truck and 2 engines that are sitting out behind the town garage that are going to wind up being scrapped eventually because they have really no value to anyone else. Fire trucks, when they reach their 30-year point, are pretty much out of the running to be a certified piece of fire apparatus. And unfortunately, a truck like ours, which is in nice shape and could go on as a spare or to another department, they just have no value. They wind up being scrapped. They will that will wind up at some scrap yard, and they'll take the engine, the transmission, the rear end out of it, and the rest they'll just squash. That's what they told us originally when we talked about a trade-in a year and a half ago. The gentleman that was the salesman at that time, I asked the question, what are you going to give it for? Give us for this. He said, maybe about 5 if we feel generous at that point. And I said, what are you going to do with it? He says, we're going to crush it. He says, we're going to take the chrome off it, the caps, the valves and things like that. We're going to crush it because it's no value. So that's my history with fire apparatus. I sold a ladder truck when I was in East Hartford for $500. I had 2 engines that I had to scrap because they had absolutely no value. And, it's just the nature of old fire trucks. They wind up, Mansfield's old fire truck wound up as a manure spreader. They took the body off and put a manure spreader on it. That's the kind of things that get done with these trucks. They really have no value unless you'd like to ship it to South America or someplace like that. And that's not the kind of thing I think we really want to get into.
Thank you. Chief, you're with us on the line. Would you like to add to this, sir, this conversation? Are you muted, sir?
Yeah, I will just agree with Mike Aramita that it doesn't have value outside the fire service. And if we
Matt, would you state your title for us for the board clerk tonight?
Yep, Deputy Fire Chief Bolton. Yep, I just, like Mike said, you're seeing more and more old retired apparatus turned into crash trucks for protection. Obviously space is a concern, so that is not feasible for us. Myself and basically everybody in our fire department, including Jim there, has gone to Eastern and utilized the equipment. I think that is by far the best option that we have.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask to go around the board for their thoughts at this time. We'll go to Mr. Moore.
Thank you. Mike, thanks for getting that data on there because it somewhat supports where I was at earlier. The closest vehicle, this is in the ask market, it's not what they're paid for, is that one being asked for at $9,500. And whether it sells for that or a little less, who knows? And that's within, like a little over $3,000 between what we're able to get for this vehicle in a like-kind exchange. And as you state, it's a vehicle that it's operational. It's going to be put into it's operational at the end of its life. That's the problem. You never know when this is going to go.
the danger of maintaining it for any, after a certain length of time. But it'll be at a training school. At a training school, it's a training area. It's not rushing out, it's not responding, it's not hitting the roads full of the acids and the materials that destroyed the brake systems and everything else. So it'll probably survive there for a number of years and be able to maintain in decent shape. So there'll be a vehicle that, if something happens, someone can utilize it, including us. So I think it is a fiscally sound move, and it's also a prudent move because we don't have a place to keep it here as a reserve vehicle. There, it can be, if it had to be, utilized that way, but it also becomes a training vessel for our department, which trains there. And we have a $6,000 credit to train off of, which I think is a more than fair price for what this vehicle is and what it can do.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Teller?
I'll be brief. I'm taking into account saving wear and tear on our engine. And that, well, it might not be market value, it's close enough. So I don't have an objection to donating it to the fire school with that information on hand.
Thank you very much for your thoughts. Mr. DePietro?
The only thing that comes to my non-fireman mind is that right now, today, that vehicle is our primary fireman. So it's the one we know is not only operational, but it's current. In my foggy memory, it seems to me in the last couple of years, we had to invest some repairs in that, right?
Yes, sir, we did. They put a new engine in it, and
So
they did.
go ahead.
I believe there were brakes also done on it, major overhaul, service overhaul, but that was a few years ago.
So I can't help but to wonder, rather than think of it in a non-fire use type of use, non-fireman, but I don't see it being used as a manure spreader. I don't see it being crushed. I see it as a viable entity, whether it's here or somewhere else. And I'll tell you, I don't know where we would store it or how we could use it, but it would seem to me that Mark Armida's first choice made sense to me as a layman. And that's all I want to say. I respect what the chief said, what everybody else said, but I like what Mike said first. Whether it's used as a blocker or I don't know. I just like the idea of not losing something that we know works and could be used if needed.
Very good. Deputy Chief, let me put the question to you then, sir. If you were to keep it as a spare, where would you locate it?
We don't have a spot. I mean, ideally down the road, which it's not down the road, but we would have an expansion on the firehouse to keep it there so that it would be readily available in the case that we needed it to transfer over so that it could replace a truck that's out of service, or if we used it as a blocking vehicle to be able to go out the door in a timely manner. But that's not a current option, so I don't think there is anywhere.
Thank you very much. Chief Dixon, is there any last comment you'd like to throw in there, sir?
Just that's another 1,000 gallons of water we'd have in town also is a secondary water source for us, a backup.
Where would you store the vehicle, sir?
That's not up to me. We're awful tight in the firehouse. You've been down there before. We'll have the ET 334, the one you're talking about now, and the new one in the firehouse together. one of the pickup trucks will have to go out while we're doing this transfer of equipment and training. It's probably going to be about 2 weeks. We're going to do that. I've been down, as I think I've mentioned to a few people in the room, Mr. Rupert, at 3:30 in the morning. I've been down trying to measure around our stairway to heaven and a few other things to make sure everything can fit, because it's tight. I've got to put some new yellow lines on the floor to make sure we back in properly. But I think Mr. Aramita may have a comment on that.
Mr. Michael Aramita, sir?
Yeah, if we didn't have the community voice channel in our building, I would say, re-energize or reinitiate that building to put it in.
Take it back, huh?
Yeah, take it back. It's not going to happen, but that would be my first choice. Or move the smaller trucks down there, keep the bigger ones in the building, and save the addition, so to speak. That is what I would consider a viable future plan, is use some building like that. The community voice channel was a fire station at one point, could be a fire station for the boat and the smaller vehicles to run out of, and keep the bigger vehicles in the big building. Not a viable opportunity right now. I don't know when the community voice channel they're listening in, when their lease is up with us, but that would be a choice that I would pick. Second choice would be the town garage. We've got at least one bay down there that does not seem to be utilized to its full extent. And I know that it's a cold storage building on the side, the new constructed side. I think if the town chose to, they could put up a wall, a suspended ceiling above it, and use that one bay as an addition to our space. I don't think it would cost a lot to put up a 30-foot long sheetrock wall and an insulated suspended ceiling above it, and hang some kind of a heater that would keep it above freezing in there all the time, and put a sign on the door, "Don't park in front of this bay," kind of thing. I think for the
Michael, let me interrupt, just for a point of clarification. Are
Yep.
you talking about this idea as one for this old truck, or for the
No,
two small vehicles?
this would be an idea where to put the spare truck, so to speak, the one we currently have. If you look at the town garage, the new building has a door on the left-hand side of it with an access door from the outside,
Yes.
so people could get in there. A simple petition down to the end of the truck, and suspended ceiling over the top, and some kind of a heater in there. I think we could easily keep that truck in there and still not affect the town garage operation. I may be wrong, and the town, the street department may jump up and down on me tomorrow morning about that, but I think that's a viable alternative for us. And
Who's the bodyguard to your house?
yeah,
That's
but
a joke. That's a joke, Linda. Do not print.
Yep, I know, but I think those are the community voice channel is not a viable opportunity because they're not going anywhere right now, and we want them to stay. But it would have been, in days gone by, that would have been a good option for us. And it could be, if the community voice channel chooses to move out, to put the small vehicles there and the big vehicles in the other station, and save the addition on the, for the short term or whatever. But I
For
think
those-
But I
Sorry, go
think the option of the town garage with a one bay heated space that we keep a spare vehicle in, I don't think is out of the realm of possibility. And probably, if I had to guess, you're $10,000 maybe to get that done. And I doubt if it would come to that much. But like I said, that's my first choice. My second choice is to donate it.
Mhm.
I will go around then and ask again in light of Mr. Moore has his hand up, sir.
Bob D.
Yeah, well, my buddies up there in the fire department, as my years there as well, as a deputy chief and as first selectman, and dealing with the apparatus when it gets older. One of the issues we have, it's an ongoing issue, is the cost of, even if it's limited use, is the cost of maintenance and insurance on these vehicles. It's a significant amount of money, and I don't don't think we're fiscally in a position to do that right now. And the ability to be able to, bring this to a fire school where it can benefit not only us, but also all the departments that respond to us on mutual aid and provide ideal training situation for our firefighters present and ones coming in. I think that's the best deal, both, as far as utilization and fiscally.
Thank you. Going back, Jim Rupert, we have not heard from you tonight, sir. Would you like to weigh in on this since the town, other facilities have been brought up? Would you like to weigh in?
I think all the views are out on the table for discussion. I don't think there's anything more to add.
You don't know the recommendations.
I have to say that Mike, you're probably right about the town crew would be jumping up and down and you might get visits tomorrow. Cause I'm not sure that they'd agree that that's spare space. And even though, one of the things we have to keep in mind is that even though it is not utilized all the time, to its fullest extent, there are times of the year where it gets very full. We were able to store the brush truck in there for an extended period of time, but it also takes up a lot less room than an ET. So, I think before we did that, if that's really a consideration by the board, I think we really should hear from John Butchamovich and Sean Bailey, who utilize that space. I think that would be appropriate if that's a real consideration by the board.
Having heard Jim's comments, at this time, I would ask, is there a motion going to be put up on the table?
I would like to present a motion that we donate the ET to the fire school as a like-kind exchange for $6,000 worth of training for the members of the Bolton Fire.
I have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Just
Mr. Aramita seconds it. And then we will open the discussion one more time. Mr. DePietro?
I have not heard that there's a real need for or asking for this from the fire school. Chief,
All right, let's
Chief
turn that,
Dixon, will you
question. Let's put that
please-
question before the fire chief, I guess.
yes,
Chief?
have they asked you for it? Do they really want it? Do they need it?
This is a,
Okay,
Chief?
no, this will be, Mr. DePietro, this will be, excuse me, Selectman DePietro, who's done an excellent job for a number of years. Thank you very much.
thank you.
This would be a very welcomed addition to the Eastern Connecticut Fire School. It would be inside a garage, a heated bay. We've got 5 bays down there. We've got some aged equipment down there now. Willimantic's our engine that they gave us about a year and a half ago had so many problems in it. That's why they gave it to us. And it's now outside being parceled out as scrap as Selectman Aramita, who's also done an excellent job for a number of years here. Even his first selectman back in the 80s. Turned around and that truck will replace that in a heartbeat. We've got 2 other engines. One that's on loan to us. They want to use it as a parade piece periodically. We don't see how that happening. And we've got an engine or a service truck from the 8th Utilities District that we use as a rescue truck for all extrication and cribbing. There's more wood and plastic cribbing on there you can believe. But this is definitely needed. It's at the fire school. Chief
Okay,
Wallach.
that was important to me. Thank you.
Oh yeah, Chief Wallach approached me on this a while ago when he heard that we had another one on order, and he said, "Please keep me in mind if we can have an option to it. Would like to." And I think that's why Administrator Rupert has the letter from Chief Wallach, I believe, in his position.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further comments that anyone on the board would like to make? Mr. Teller?
Sure. Excuse me. I don't think we should keep it. I think Mr. Moore's point about the insurance and maintenance is prohibitive. And I doubt that using another space is bang for the buck to store it. I may not be convinced that I know the fair market value of this truck, but I think we're down to the point where the error is within the margin of error that I'm willing to accept. The difference between a $6,000 barter price and whatever we get on the open market if similar trucks are being marketed for $9,500 or $10,500 is not significant, especially if we're also saving wear and tear on the truck that our fire staff would be taking down to the school, because every mile on that truck costs us significant money. Every minute it's on the road costs us money, and exposes it to risk. And it's $1.6 million or whatever it is. So I think we're at the point where there's nothing further to be gained by debating this, and just one way or the other make a decision. And I'm happy to accept the recommendations of our fire service, who I certainly respect.
Thank you. And this chair is in concurrence with those thoughts because of, and as I stated before, one of the issues that I found was most persuasive was the fact that this is a mutual aid usage as well. It's not going to a private vendor. It's not going to someone who would be making money off of it, but it would be going to the greater public good. So thank you for that. And at this time, then we've got a motion on the table. It has been duly seconded. At this time, I will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion before us, please say aye.
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 We have unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate that and the thoughtful discussion. Moving on then to number 7.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chief, thank you very much, and Deputy Chief, thank you very much for your service, and the other caller. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Please give our best wishes to Chief Pollock.
Yep.
Under new business, consider an act on the Board of Selectmen meeting dates for 2024.
I don't have a problem.
Thank you.
I neither.
Smart Alex.
Members of the board, so
I think I make a motion that this is
I
good.
want you to meet Friday night.
Thank you, Al.
Yeah,
I'm glad nobody's lost their sense
Yeah.
of humor.
that's what I think.
No. I do have a question.
Mr. Moore? you have-
Election day is what, the 5th? Yeah, November 5th.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd rather not have it after election day.
On election day, you're saying?
No, I'd rather not have it after election day, because if it's anything like today, I'm ready to take a nap. Why put us through this again? If we're gonna do it, we should either have it the following week or the day before. I'm not sure.
I think the following week makes the most sense, Bob.
Me too. So I would recommend that it be moved,
Is the motion to adopt the calendar with the motion?
A point of privilege, Madam Chair.
Yes,
Could
Mr.
you
Teller?
just show this to the 3 or 4 people who are going to be on this board of selectmen? Or 5 and ask them if they have I think we could break protocol.
Sure.
It's a rite of passage. You're gonna get some stuff for that.
Maybe one of them has.
So they wanna stick you with something that you're all gonna hate.
Or something.
No, there,
You know what you do, guys.
yeah.
I apologize.
Just listen.
Yes, I'm gonna.
So
And perhaps we could just.
if you guys want to share this,
Excuse me, just,
For a few
the
moments.
board will take
Take it up.
a 1 minute to a 2-minute,
Well, 2-minute recess.
2-minute recess at this time. It is 8:01.
Good night, Chief.
We're recess. Good night, Chief, and thank you. We'll recess until 8:04.
Yeah. Okay, well.
I have no obligations on those days.
Wow, you actually know that.
Yeah, I would. I have an obligation.
Yeah, right.
I'll just take it and send it to her.
That's
She'll send me. This is my packet. In business.
Are these all Wednesdays? No, I'm gonna say that the 12th, the Tuesday following election.
Thank you.
There Tuesday.
Dust is settled, I think. And there's really no reason to rush it on a Monday, because that's always stuff for the staff to get things out, and in case something quick has gotta go out. It just makes it much harder. So I would recommend adopting. Unless anyone out there has an issue with it? Okay, adopting that with the schedule, except for the November one, that being the, meeting to be held following Tuesday, which would be November 12th.
At this time, are we putting that in the form of a motion, sir?
The board clerk.
Excuse me, at this time, Ms. Linda?
I'll read it.
I just wanted to say that if you have it on the 12th, that Monday would be a holiday, correct?
Oh, and it'd be,
Oh, yes, it would be.
Veterans Day.
So that would give staff.
So the 11th would be, but we would have to have the package out on Friday anyway.
Okay.
It's not the second.
Veterans Day is the
Yeah,
It
11th,
is the 11th,
not Tuesday. It's not a holiday.
right?
Veterans Day is the 11th.
And we would have to have the package out on Friday.
Friday anyway, so I don't think it's gonna impact.
Thank you for that consideration, ma'am. Mr. Moore, are you making this in the form of a motion, sir? That
Yes,
you
I did.
To accept the Board of Selectmen's proposal, with the, change of November 12th for that particular month's meeting?
You want me to read them off?
Mm-mm.
I don't believe that's necessary.
Okay,
Ms. Linda, would you like him to read them off? The dates?
I'm going to put them all in the minutes only because the town clerk needs a written record of what the dates are.
Would you like them read off right now?
That would be nice.
Okay, yes, please, Mr.
I
Moore.
will.
And place it in the form of a motion.
I move we adopt the following meeting dates for 2024, January 2nd, February 6th, March 5th, April 2nd, May 7th, June 4th, July 2nd, August 6th, September 3rd, October 8th, and November 12th, and December 3rd.
All at 7 o'clock.
All 7, thank you.
At 7 o'clock, and then I would ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Taylor seconds, even though he's not gonna be here. Rat. Is there any further discussion to be before us? When is the September, when is Labor Day? May I just ask a quick question? Can somebody look up on a calendar, paper, calendar,
It's probably the following weekend.
I think it's later.
Labor Day?
September 2nd.
So that's one of the issues, I think, before us, is that we have a holiday the day before. Is that an
Good.
issue, Mr. Teller? I mean, Mr. Rupert?
We're doing the same in November.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, then we will
People are back.
continue on. Any further discussion? I would reach out at this time to those that are selectmen-elect. Is there any further comment? Hearing none? All right, the current board, I would ask at this time to call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it passes unanimously. Thank you, and thank you for your participation, everybody. Moving on to the lane widths on Route 44. Mr. Rupert?
So you heard at your last meeting, some comments from members of Bike Walk Bolton about potentially adopting a position and reaching out to DOT to let them know that you support narrower lane widths on Route 44. There are some members of the Bolton public that use that for biking and walking on a regular basis. We have discussed this in the past, and we have taken the position that we supported and have sent a letter to DOT through our representatives at the Capital Region Council of Governments before. I can't tell you at a recent Transportation Committee meeting of the Capital Region Council of Governments, this is an idea that is being newly revived. One of the things that's been happening for the last couple of years, and I think it, tells you this in the letter from Sylvia, is that every 2 years, the state restripes Route 44. and they haven't been following their own policies. So what they're asking is the Board of Selectmen take a position and remind them of their policies and ask them to consider the next time they strike Route 44, to do so with narrower lane widths so that there is opportunity for those who bike and walk along Route 44.
One of the things that I have had the experience, Mr. Rupert, and to the board and to those present, on a transportation committee, when I served in the legislature, the discussion of lane widths has been ongoing, and the research comes out every few years is conflicting because of the width of vehicles today, the distractibility of people, that the wider the lane is, it gives moments, partial moments longer for people to correct their mistake if they are looking away, if they are not paying attention. One of the things we know, certainly on Route 6, it's not as high on Route 44, but on Route 6 is the head-on collision issue. So it is because of the head-on collisions and the ability to get out of the way if somebody's coming over into your lane, it gives you more area. The lane width though it's not imaginary. You see a lane, you see that other stripe, and you tend to be cautious of it. That's one of the reasons that they went wide for a long time, was for head-on collision issues. Having said that, Mr. Rupert, we do not need to take action on this. Is that correct?
If you want to take a position and have me write a letter, that you probably do. But if you don't want to take action, you don't have to. So it's completely up to you.
And what is the board's preference? Is there anyone that would like to make a motion to have Mr. Rupert write a letter in support of to be sent to the DOT in support of this issue?
Before we do that,
I'm sorry, Mr. DePietro has,
oh, you did, I
Hand up.
apologize.
would you, Mr. DePietro, would you allow Mr. Mora to speak?
I just had a question.
Okay, Mr. Mora, please proceed.
My question really has to do is, I would like to ask DOT, why are they keeping the lane width the way they are? Is there a reason for them? Do they have a reason for doing that? And if so, we'd like to know why. So if we're gonna send a letter like this, we should at least be in a position to counter an argument that they're proposing. And I think we'd be in a better position if we're going to, request that, because, it's always good to know why the other side is doing what they're doing. So at least if we're gonna do a suggestion, we can present a counter proposal as to why this would work.
Thank you. Mr. DePietro, you have the floor, sir.
You're muted, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. I just wondered who really has jurisdiction over this.
State of Connecticut DOT.
So ours would simply be an advisory recommendation based
Yes, sir.
on input from Barbara and Sylvia.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Can we also add, I think you have to be crazy to either walk or bike on either one of those roads.
Let's not cast aspersions, sir, on people's choices of recreation, sir.
Yes. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, very good.
So I think what I'm hearing, which is probably a really good approach, assuming that the board agrees with this, is, why don't we engage with Connecticut DOT and say, we have a group of interested individuals in Bolton that would love to see, lane widths narrowed along Route 44. Is there a reason that has not happened to date? And we can actually engage in a conversation with DOT about this so that we can come to a conclusion that potentially meets the needs of those that are walking and biking in Bolton and the needs of the Connecticut DOT. And if there are maybe there are very valid reasons that they haven't changed the lane widths.
At this time, I would, enter with that thought in mind, entertain a motion to engage the DOT. Is there a motion that would be had?
I'll make that.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Teller seconds. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much, and thank you, Jim, for that. Moving on then to C, discussion of speeding traffic around town. Mr. Rupert?
But there's been a lot of activity on social media as of late with people complaining about high rates of speed all over town. We, on a regular basis, this board hears from people about specific areas of town, but this seems to be a widespread issue. I did, knowing that this was on our agenda and based on the information that we've been seeing on social media, I did have conversation with Trooper Contenta today. And he agrees that it is happening, it is an issue. He informed me that he had a traffic stop just this morning. Our troopers are on it. I know that they also are trying to find a balance between safety and community policing and don't want to be handing tickets out to town residents all the time, and they're trying to find that balance. So a lot of times when they're pulling people over, the first time it's a warning. But I think, hopefully people are listening to our meeting and talking, about our discussions here and understanding that this is a problem. We do have a very active community of people who bike and walk, and, just this afternoon, I saw Amanda walking her dog. And these are things that happen all the time. People are jogging past town hall, and, we have people that, disregard the stop signs all over town on a regular basis. We have applied for a grant for some additional traffic enforcement targeting dollars. Supposedly we've got the grant, we just don't have the money. And we're a little leery about authorizing overtime without having the funding in place. We've asked for the funding several times. And I believe our troopers are going to continue to do everything they can when they're out on the streets, policing our roads to try to find that balance and get traffic under control.
There's no further discussion. It will be something that the next board as when it is seated could look at. Then we'll move on then to the reports and updates, properties and facilities administrative report. As you saw, as you parked here this evening, we have the welcome vision of the temporary building that's put before us that is still not ready to be accepted because of items that the administration does not feel have met the specs and the requirements that were asked for. Mr. Rupert?
We've got to find a different name than call it the temporary building, first of all. Because it's going to be with us for a little while.
Town Hall
So at some
Annex.
point, what's that?
Town Hall
Town
Annex.
Yeah, we've got to find an appropriate title for it.
The white box is not appropriate.
It's actually gray.
Tin can.
The tin can is getting
Oh, that's
closer.
wood.
How about the space lab?
There you go. So there are some fit and finish issues with the unit. And Will Scott, the company that we signed the lease with, has acknowledged those. They did not fight back at all. We did a tour of the building with their representative, and he agreed with all of the issues that we pointed out. We did manage to get electricity connected to it, so it's now has, heat and power, which is going to make it easier for them to fix the issues. Some of which are flooring issues that require adhesives. And we couldn't really do that without power. They began those repairs today. I know that they will be back tomorrow. We gave them a key and said, it's still your building. We haven't accepted it as yet. It just happens to be sitting on our property, so feel free to come in and take care of it, and we will walk through it once again for final acceptance when they've completed their work. And this actually kind of ties into the next topic, which is the connectivity trail. Landy Construction has been held up with other projects, but they reported to me today that they should get on that connectivity trail project either Friday or Monday this week. And as soon as they're completed with the connectivity trail, which they expect to take 5 to 10 days of their time, they will move over to the temporary building and help us with the connections to water and septic, which are necessary for the use of the temporary building. We are collecting quotes on ramps for that structure. We have the stairs in place, and every day we get a little closer to being able to put it in service and take the folks that have moved into that are in the current Notch Road Municipal Center and relocate them to that facility. And we're looking forward to that day.
Thank you. And the connectivity trail, is there anything further?
I don't have anything further to report.
And the possible taking down of the Metro Municipal 2/3 of the building and the vision for the space.
So with the Notch Road Municipal Center, we are finalizing our bid documents so that we can go out to bid for a design professional to assist us with the tear down and rebuilding process. One of the things that we would like them to do is also help us put bid specs together for the tear down of the structure. But as you can imagine, when the structure comes down, there's demolition and there's also selective demolition as we get close to the section that we're sitting in right now. And there's gonna be a wall missing that has to be rebuilt. So that has to be a part of the design for that. So we expect to be going out to bid for design professional services here within the next 30 days. And as soon as we get the design professional on board, we'll be looking forward to going out to bid for the demolition project. And we would hope to be awarding those bids, in the near future so that we can do demolition during the course of the summer next year.
Any questions for Mr. Rupert on this issue? Mr. Petro?
Yes. Yesterday at the election headquarters, a polling booth, somebody asked me if all the bricks were going to be put in a discarded in a waste, or whether or not they could be salvaged. Jim?
The question for the, could not hear is whether or not bricks could be salvaged.
It is likely that there may be some level of contamination, at least in some of those bricks with, things like asbestos or PCBs or things of that nature. We found those issues with similar age buildings in the past. So unfortunately, once we get into the doing the environmental testing that's required for the tear down, we may find that much of it is not salvageable.
Well, thank you. The other question related to this, I know it's premature, but excuse me, has there been any thought about the future use of the annex or temporary building?
So we've been working with Yukon TAB, and I don't remember what the TAB acronym stands for, but they're a division of the University of Connecticut School of Engineering, and they assist with brownfield projects. Now, because we are the original owners of the school building and it has contamination, we're not eligible for brownfield grant money because we're essentially the ones that created the contamination by building it with, products that are considered hazardous waste at this point in their life. But one of the things they've offered us, which, is free of charge to us, is help with imagining reuse. And based on a report that we got today, they are well on their way to that. They've met with me, they've talked with me, they've reviewed the environmental reports that we do have. You know, we've talked about possible uses in the future, which could be the location for a new town hall. You know, we've talked about the fact that we'd love to have a community center at some point down the road. We've talked about the fact that we'd love to have senior housing. We've talked about the vision of, you know, the vibrant community study and those kinds of things. And they expect to have at least a preliminary report to us by the second week of December. So that's something that should be coming to a station near us soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything further? If not, Mr. Moore?
Just to respond to Bob's concern, a number of years ago, when we looked at replacing the windows in that building, one of the issues we came across is the same thing same issue that occurred at the high school. The PCBs and one of the windows had seeped into the bricks around there, so you have huge windows, so that whole area around there, a good portion of it, you can probably assume has some of that material in it. So the cost was prohibitive for us we were trying to be energy efficient, but it was cost prohibitive. So those are some of the issues, Bob, that they're gonna be dealing with. Hopefully it's tight and just around the windows and not a significant amount. But if it occurred in a newer school like that, they probably had it here in the school.
Mr. DePietro, is it somebody there that we remember that we should reach out to give them this information, or is it something you can share with them?
Yes.
You can share with them? Okay, very good. Thank you.
And so are we gonna have memorial bricks to hand out for folks who would like to have this? Because
Yes.
this was part of everybody's school that ever grew up in this town, and we can have a little fundraiser or something, or give them out.
Mr. Teller's putting his hand up to volunteer.
That's assuming you remember.
I think Adam would like to see the sledgehammer to take the brick down.
That's assuming you remember it fondly.
So that goes with the fundraiser. Take it down.
Okay.
So at this time, I'll move on then with a great happy moment, to move on to the budget report.
So you have before you the current budget report. There are no red flags in this report. Spending seems to be on par with what our expectations are. Is there any questions from the board?
Nope.
You also have the current report from the tax collector, which also it's not changed a lot from the last report that you had. Also, it is very much on par.
So just to point out that our motor vehicle expected levy is about $2 million. So in the current discussion of
Just speak up so that you can hear Mr. Teller.
our motor vehicle levy is budgeted at about $2 million a year. So in the current discussion about eliminating the motor vehicle tax, that's our point of rest.
Yep.
Right? And we need $2 million from somebody, Governor Lamont or legislature, if they eliminate the motor vehicle.
Thank you very much. Hearing none, we don't need to accept this, do we?
No.
And we'll move on to the AP report. which we
Make a
do need
motion, we approve.
for action.
Mr. Armita.
I'm sorry, Mr. Armita, I didn't mean to ignore you, sir.
He moved to approve.
Move to approve the AP
AP.
report.
Yep.
And a second, please.
Mhm. Yes.
Mr. Morris seconds. Any questions for Mr. Rupert?
You have a couple,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
on page
Mr. Teller?
6. IPRIO, electronic distribution of POS/OS, is that a licensing for software, I'm assuming? And is there a reason it's charged to bonded note expense, or is that something specific for?
I think this was when we went out for the bond and note for the fire truck, this was the distribution of that bond request.
I'll talk about it, yeah. Like what, that's for sending out a bond information to
Yeah,
what bond holders?
That's I can get more information, but that's what I think it is.
Where that,
You want us to hold?
no, no,
Want that one?
no. I just. I'm just curious.
Yep.
frankly, but,
Understood.
It's funny,
and
it's
then
the same,
I won't say the name, but I wanna note that we have a young student who completed an EMT training, and I just think that's fantastic.
Thank you for the comment, Mr. Armita.
I was just gonna say that $750 just, it's funny, we just voted to do the $750. Wasn't it to join the thing for taking care of property titles and stuff?
Yes, sir.
It didn't
Yes.
get confused with that, did it?
I don't think so, but I will definitely get clarification.
Okay, cool.
Any further questions on this? If not?
Nope.
I'll call for the vote. All in favor of accepting the AP report as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Hey,
Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. There are no budget transfers, Mr. Rupert, I believe.
That's accurate.
So we'll move on to number 9, first selectmen's report. We have been covering most of these issues pretty thoroughly. I am very happy to report that Mr. Rupert has been very forthcoming with issues to share on their updates. So at this time, I will pass the first selectmen's report and move on to the administrative officer's report.
Okay, we've got a few minutes, so we'll go through it pretty quickly. We submitted additional information to Connecticut DPH for the steep grant regarding the septic system. Actually heard back from them again today. They have one more page for us to fill out. It's like when you go for a mortgage, they just want you to fill out more paper all the time. So we've got another form. Last month I did attend the award ceremony and accepted the Sustainable CT Award with Patrice Carson. At the same time, she was actually getting the CETUS Award, but managed to finish that meeting early enough to make it all the way out to Winchester to be there in time to help collect the plaque for the Sustainable CT. At some point, we are going to ask Patrice to come before the board. As Selectman Teller, put it so eloquently, when the board asked us to move forward and try to obtain these recertification, it's a look at what you're doing and where you're going. Amanda Gordon helped us a lot with this. So we appreciate her help and the help from all the town staff and the other members of the public that helped us put this information together. But I think it really is a good reflection on what we've done since our last certification and things that we can potentially look at toward the future to help guide us in an appropriate and positive direction. So we will be asking Patrice to come forward and give us a report on our achievements over the last several years. As most of you were probably there, we held the town meeting with regard to the teacher's contract. We submitted opioid information to the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities. To date, I can tell you we've collected about $17,000 in grants funds, and I continue to push the Eastern Highlands Health District to work with all of their towns to create a regional, let's do something on a regional basis. $17,000 isn't going to go really far. But if we start partnering with Coventry and Mansfield and Collin and all of the other towns in the Eastern Highlands Health District, that money adds up quickly and we can really do something meaningful. So when I attend those meetings, that's something that I continue to push for. The capital budget package has gone out to all department heads. We've submitted the paperwork for the polling location to the Diocese of Norwich. We held the Living History Weekend. We got great feedback on that. Various staff participated in the state emergency preparedness exercise. We held a quarterly staff meeting where we discussed the budget and provided copies of the recently adopted financial policy manual. We had a very successful trunk or treat event, which I attended. It was very well attended by the public.
What was your costume?
I dressed as me.
Thank you.
Town administrator.
Did
But
the children run through?
they did not because I was standing next to the state trooper who had copious amounts of candy.
Protection.
And my grandson and my two granddaughters and my daughter and son-in-law came out to visit briefly. It was a lot of fun. It was a really great event. We held the annual drug take back at the resident state trooper's office. We started the annual report process. We took delivery of the new building. The registrars were successfully moved to room A. We struggled with doing that last year, but we were able to successfully do that this year. Joe Dillon walked the Heritage Farm with Gwen and Richard Treat to look at the projected pathway route. Williams Road and French Road have been paved. We're working on updating the local emergency operation plan. We actually had a member of Connecticut Department of Homeland Security come out and help us address the changes to the plan. We held our regular quarterly meeting update with Eversource, attended the CTCMA meeting, attended the monthly Eastern Highlands Health District meeting, as well as the Personnel Subcommittee meeting and the Capital Region Policy Board meeting. That's just a quick recap of the last month's activities. Any questions?
No,
I have one.
Thank you.
Bob?
Madam Chair, have you ever considered inviting members of the Board of Selectmen to your quarterly supervisors meeting?
I do believe that we let the first selectman know when the meeting was, and she was not available to attend that day. But I
What
did
about
not,
the
I did
members?
not put the information out to the entire board. I could certainly do that in the future. Thank you.
Very good. If there's no further discussion on this particular report, I would like to add just one thing, and that was the effort put forward by the administration to work with the registrar of voters to get them as much and as fast as that they could do to satisfy all the election needs. And then I would like to say a personal thank you to the registrar of voters because they put together an election day voting situation, and we look forward to finding a new place for the voting to occur in the future. Having said that, Mr. Armita, sir.
yes, you just brought up something I noticed in Jim's report, discussion with the Norwich Diocese about polling place. I hope that's to stop going there and move somewhere else. I know that there is at least one more person on the board that feels the same way I do, that it's not appropriate that we vote in a place of worship, and it could make people feel uncomfortable. And I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable when they come to vote. And I'm sure we can find another place, whether it be, we'll figure out something, but it needs to be someplace other than that. Maybe the community room at the fire station for the day. I don't know, something, but I think we need to back off religious location for our voting. Separation of church and state's a big deal with our country, and I find it hard for myself, even though I was born and brought up Catholic, to go there for those circumstances.
We appreciate the comments, Mr. Armita. The board has had the conversation in the past, and
Yep.
we'll, I'm sure, have it in the future. But it is the call of the registrar of voters. It is not the call of the selectman's office to.
I know. It's
I'm just saying that for the benefit of others in the room.
okay. Could I say one more thing before we walk away? As a
Mr.
group?
Armita, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay. I brought up some oddball potential solutions to things tonight, and I haven't been I've been, kind of looking outside the box when we talked about community policing, which is something I hope the next board continues on so that we have a trooper within at least, 10 or 15 miles of us rather than down in Niantic as you go forward. And I think you need to start looking outside the box. And I'm talking seriously outside the box when it comes to the future of Bolton, our education system, and everything else. Ram High School, a couple of years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago, did an addition. Had that regional district been broken up to have Andover and Bolton as a district and Marlborough and Hebron as a district, 4 towns which are better suited, Marlborough and Hebron, and Andover and Bolton are much closer. There wouldn't have been a need for an addition at Ram High School, and our school would be full. And those are the kinds of things we have to look at and take this from where it's coming. But the town of Andover Bolton is not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, they have a town hall. We have 2 grammar schools. We have a high school. There's no reason. I mean, Vernon and Rockville consolidated. If you're looking to save money and you're looking to make the ability for the towns to go into the future, and be solvent, we have to look really outside the box. And the town of Andover Bolton, one town, could solve some of the problems of the future. A town hall being one of them, a second fire station, and more people to respond on the first alarm. There's a whole host of things that could be improved if we went that way. The Ram and Andover Bolton High and Marlborough Hebron High and all those things. And I would encourage the next board to think that far outside the box. There are things that we are going to have to do to survive in the economic climate that's coming down the road. And we've already seen it. And we're sitting here. We have a gentleman that comes up every night, every meeting, and talks about the town hall. And think outside the box, way outside the box. As I used to tell my guys at work, think outside the box, but color inside the lines. And, stay within the rules, but really think crazy thoughts sometimes. And I thank you all for allowing me to be with you for the past 8 years, and I've enjoyed it immensely.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aramita. Mr. Moore,
What can I say? I mean,
you've enjoyed working with them?
me, well, Mike and I go back further than anybody else on this board. We served together way back, decades ago, and it was a great time then. And he picked up when I was not able to go forward, he picked up the mantle and ran for first selectman and served well in that position. And and he went on to fill other positions in town as well. And then we caught him one day for breakfast out in Hebron and twisted his arm, and he spent another 8 years with us. So Mike, it's been a real pleasure. I enjoyed it. Mike and I could debate issues. We could be left field, right field on issues, but when we're all said and done, we're back working together again. So it's been a real pleasure, and I'm gonna miss you, my friend.
Well,
Thank you.
I'll still be
And I have
around.
to say, if I may, and I got the floor, you're gonna have to stop me because, I got to say the same thing with Mr. DePietro. So Bob and I, he's the guy that hooked me into another organization. So we've been going and going, and Bob, he stepped in and did all those years on the Board of Finance, and those were tough years. And I don't know how you did it, but you did it and ran it through, and then came on with us through some. Well, there hasn't been many years that haven't been really tough years, but and I've always appreciated your common sense and even more your friendship.
Thank you.
We had working together, and it's just something that unless someone becomes a part of a board like this, it is hard for people outside this to really realize how the sort of relationship you all built. Because it's a small town, you're working together. You may have different thoughts on how to get to a certain point. We all seem to have the same idea of where we want to go. and that's the betterment of our town. And Adam, he and I always had some fun times on the board. No, not on this board. This board, we had a great time. Actually, I have to say, I really enjoyed working with you here. I had some real trepidations when we first came on, and I'm not gonna kid about it, but, it's been a pleasure. I truly have enjoyed it, and, you're gonna be missed.
Yes.
You add in an element that, never get into the lawyer issue, but I'm not gonna make a lawyer joke, but there always comes a time when, you have a knowledge that none of us had, and it adds an element to the conversation that we simply would not have, because we simply wouldn't have that input, and we appreciate it, and I'm sure everyone else that watched working with us would. And Miss Pam, who I twisted her arm, her toes, and everything of her body to get her to run for first selectman, and I thank you so much for doing that, and you exceeded all my expectation, not that that means anything, but I think that of everyone who served this town, I want to thank you for what you've done through this really difficult time for you too. The town appreciates it, and I do appreciate working with you. And as this old timer, it's been a pleasure, guys.
Yes.
Thank
Mr. Teller, you have the floor.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I want to add to Mr. Moore's statement that I have enjoyed and valued serving with all of you. I especially call out Ms. Sawyer for having taken on this obligation at a difficult time and doing it with grace and warmth. I value the warmth and friendship that all of you have brought to this board and how well we've worked together. And I recognize that you all deeply care about the town and your community. Mike and Bob, Petro, all of us are leaving this board, some by choice, maybe some not. But I appreciate your service as well, and how much you care about the town and how much you contribute. And I want to thank the people of Bolton for allowing me to serve, because I was raised to believe that when you join a community, you pitch in and do what you can for it, and you try to leave it a better place. I hope we all have done that. I'm sure there's skepticism, but that's what makes a community, that people are willing to do this,
Yes.
and fewer seem to be willing. So the fact that people step up, take on this challenge, is very meaningful to me, and I would thank all of you who are joining the board, or who wanted to join the board, because it's both a sacrifice and a blessing to be able to do it. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. DePietro. You have the floor, sir.
No, thank you all. I'm fine. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be bugging you.
Then I would like to have the floor then to reiterate how I started the meeting. It has been a very, very special part of my life. I've served the town, Adam and I've talked about it before, since 42 years in one capacity or another. And this has been one that came to me at a very special time in my life. And I have been very rewarded by some very gracious people who have helped me, as well as I've been able to turn it around and be able to help and to give back. So it's been very wonderful to work with Mr. Teller, Mr. Aramita, Mr. DePietro, Mr. Mora, and come forward with many new outside the box ideas, and to look forward to where the future of the town is going. At this time, I see that the board clerk has her hand up. Linda?
I just want to put my 2 cents in and thank
Yes,
everybody.
ma'am.
I've worked with Bob and on other boards. I've worked with Adam on other boards, and I just thoroughly enjoyed the diverse range of ideas, and this has been a great board to clerk for, and I just want to thank everybody.
Thank you, we
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Mr.
Thank
Rupert,
you.
would you like the floor?
There's nothing more I can add. And I think, you really have hit the nail on the head. It's a diverse group of individuals who bring different viewpoints. And I think at the end of the day, this group has served the town very well. And it's a pleasure to work for this board. And I look forward to working with, for and with the new board that's coming into place. We're gonna have new challenges to meet. It's gonna be interesting. Sometimes it's gonna be painful, sometimes it's gonna be fun. But I look forward to doing that and meeting those challenges together. And hopefully, folks like Mike and Bob and Adam will find other ways to continue to serve the community because they've done so much that I can't see them just withering away into the darkness. I'm sure Adam and Bob and Mike, Pam will be bugging you to join some board or commission when there's a vacancy, because that's her mantra these days. When she finds somebody who's twiddling their thumb, she asks them to join something. So you may not be idle for long.
I'd like to say a very special thank you to all those who put your names forward to run on, for any board and commission in this town, and who offer to serve, whether it's in an elected position or in an appointed position. I have had a few no's, but I've had many, many yeses, people who have stepped forward and said that they would serve. So very serious thank you. And those of you that push and understand the importance of elections and the democracy of this town, it's very special indeed. So thank you very much. At this time, I would say that we have item number 11, executive session, discussion of personnel evaluation with the administrative officer. And I would ask that you're welcome to stay nearby if you want to wait out in the hall, and we can call you back in at the executive session, or good night. Mr. We have one question.
Can I have, so on minutes, who puts the minutes together, and does anybody participate from the selectmen, because the next minutes are gonna be ours? Is that correct? Next meeting
The
minutes,
board clerk, well, circulate them.
The board clerk will get them.
and they're made up by,
The board clerk. Linda,
okay,
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still here.
okay,
we can answer that question for you in the morning, sir.
okay. Very good.
Madam Chair, before you go into exec,
Linda, one
Yeah.
moment, please.
Madam Chair.
I need to be able to hear Linda carefully. So I need to
Can you
ask-
set it,
Right?
can you set a time for your next AP meeting before you go into executive session?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, very
Tuesday,
good.
November 21st.
Call on back in quickly.
Well,
Yeah, because it's the new board.
already.
On the 21st, it's a new board.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting, get them back in.
You can just tell them what it is.
Okay, that's good, because we have the ecumenical service at 7 PM. So are you available at 5 PM
Yeah,
I'll make it. What day of the week is that?
Tuesday? For Thanksgiving,
What day? The 21st.
yeah, and that's the day that the board is seated.
are the facilities open in this building?
We can. So, yeah, there's a restroom, right? Yeah,
Oh,
it's the door, right as you come in the doorway.
on the left-hand side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right here, yeah, okay.
So we have on the bottom of,
2-minute break.
sorry, I apologize. On the bottom of the agenda, Linda very carefully pointed out that we have the next AP meeting to be scheduled, which is a very short meeting. It's usually very brief. We have that particular evening, there is something in town that is important to the religious community at 7 PM. So I would ask and say that at this point, I will set the date as the current chair, send the time for November 21st at 5 PM. So that will help everybody to get through to clear their calendar to be able to attend this next event.
So our first meeting is a special AP meeting.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Right. Julie, probably do.
And and you can come virtually if you're not able to attend in person.
For 5 minutes. It'll be 5 minutes, literally.
Unless,
should be-
unless
should-
there
unless
is
there's
another
something else that
issue
should be
that
clear.
needs to be placed upon the
So
agenda.
we just need to take our oath before get sworn in.
Oh, right.
Yes, ma'am, you do.
And that's the
And we
21st
can't get
here.
sworn in until the 20th, can we?
That's correct.
So
Well, I No,
No, I think
you can get sworn in
now.
anytime.
I think you can get sworn in now. It just doesn't become effective.
Yes.
There's no pending reading,
No.
I don't think there is.
right? Okay.
Not
I don't
for this-
know, I
not
didn't
for
I
this-
haven't heard that there was.
Okay, five PM on the
Yes,
21st.
thank you for doing that. Oh, 5 p.m.?
Yes, we have,
Virtually.
Well, that's the ecumenical service.
it says 7.
Oh, that's why we're doing it, okay. Good, okay, thank you.
That's here at the town.
It'll be, as far as I know, it'll be at town hall, but that'll come out with the agenda, the location.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Linda, did you, so you got that 5 PM on the
And I
21st?
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am?
First executive session that I've had to leave virtually. So I'm guessing that you closed the Zoom meeting? Because I'm not supposed to be part of it.
Right,
Yeah, typically what I'll do is we'll stop the recording. And if there's anybody here, we'll move them to the waiting room. But if you want to be done for the night, that's fine. You can know.
Oh, no, I just didn't know how you handled it.
Yeah, no, I'll send you an email that'll tell you what time we came out of executive session
And what action? was
and
taken?
what action was taken.
And what time the meeting ended.
Yes, so you are welcome to have the rest of the night off.
Woo!
Who's on
All
the
right,
phone?
good night, everybody.
Good.
We have to
Good.
go into executive
Yes,
session.
we
Wait,
do.
Don't, we have to vote to go into.
Yeah, we haven't gone in.
Right.
yet.
And you
Yeah,
have to
I'll
decide
stay
whether-
for that part. I'll stay for the voting.
Okay, very good. But
You have to decide whether or not you want me in it.
I need to, we need to find out who phone number is the 607 phone number. Yeah.
Did you know? Oh, they just went on.
Gone.
And please write down.
We'll have to move them to the waiting room.
Okay.
Who was that?
I have no idea, Bob. They never identified themselves,
Okay.
but they also didn't speak.
Okay, as soon as you make the motion, I'll leave the meeting.
It'll be a minute.
That's celery.
I know what it is. I was just wondering who's stalking Pam.
Oh, no. Who's talking? Yeah, oh, geez. Whoa. That's good. I never would.
We're still recording.
Oh.
Oh,
The poor guy sitting out there wondering what the hell we're laughing at. There's a stalk of celery sitting in front of Ham's seat. Oh, God.
Is this our last meeting together?
Yes.
it is.
It's,
Hello.
Unless we find some reason to meet.
Yeah, yeah,
between now and then.
yeah, he's crying. There's a bottle of wine sitting beside him. He's gonna, so he can have a nice glass afterwards.
He's
Enjoy
opening the champagne.
it.
What are you about?
Very good.
Well, at least you won't have to get up for any more 9 o'clock meetings, Bob. When we do AP at 9 o'clock in the morning.
That's good.
Jim, can you send me a copy of your administrator's report tomorrow?
Yes, we'll make sure you get the whole package as well as the sign-in sheet.
Okay, thanks.
Assuming I can find it. Oh, there it is.
Linda, you've been very good,
Thanks.
very helpful.
We'll call the meeting back to order. Thank you very much. And at this time, I will entertain a motion to move into executive session.
For the purpose of discussion, the
Person-
administrative officer's salary and contract.
And that we invite Mr. Rupert to join us.
So do I have a motion,
Yeah, he seconded.
and
I
Adam seconds it with the amendment.
Right.
Very
All right,
good.
can vote on it.
So, you gotta vote.
motion that
At
we,
this time, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye, it passes unanimously. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Community Voice Channel.